Hello and welcome back to Friday the 13th. So we are going to look around the virtual cabin. It's a fun little interactive thing that tells you more about the game, about the movies. It has a bit of a puzzle element to it, so we're going to explore this. So we've got a little computer. So I did a little bit of this and I thought, I should record it because, the game's dead now. Unlisted. So some people might not have ever seen this. And I never really explored this, so we're going to explore this together. So we've got a computer here. So we've got Counselor Database. Which I don't know who these people are. So I looked around through it. It's like, I don't know if these are the devs for the game or not. Yeah, no idea. I've also changed the date. Reset the virtual cabin. And check for updates, but we need a password for that. Release dates. Alf of the first 10 films is supposed to be out, but that's never going to be updated. Out of the first 10 films, every Friday the 13th movie has been released on a Friday, but only 4 have been released on a Friday the 13th. Excuse me. Blue Cap. The song that plays during the Crispin Glover's idiosyncratic dance is Lion's Love is a Lie. However, during filming, it was AC/DC's Back in Black that was played on set. In an interview, Glover recounts the scene. That was the dance I came up with for it. They did not use Back in Black in the soundtrack. It was certainly an unusual way to dance that piece of music, but the motions of the dance fit properly to the song if it is correctly synced. Crispin Glover's dance? I don't know. What that means. I guess I was an actor in the movie.
Okay, so did you want to do an intro?
Hello. Welcome to the Virtual Cabin. I'm Chuck Brengard, CEO of Ilphonic, and we are the developers behind Friday the 13th, the game, which you are currently playing now.
Is there anything you want to say to the fans?
Sure. I just want to say thanks for playing and supporting the game. Our fan base has been incredible. This project has exceeded even our wildest dreams, and that's because of all your continued and amazing support.
So where are we?
So this is the Virtual Cabin, 2.0 to be exact. The Virtual Cabin was a way for our backers to check out new art assets and discover a few hidden Easter eggs as we were building the game. It was a really engaging way to show a sneak peek at what we were developing.
So, why bring it back?
A ton of work went into researching the Friday the 13th films for the game, and we wanted to present a fun way to go behind the scenes and learn more about how the movies in the game were made. Consider this as an expanded virtual museum, a space where you can explore the lore of Friday the 13th and take it all in. Who knows? There might even be a few new Easter eggs to discover. If you go digging deep enough. Sorry, I didn't mean for that to sound so ominous.
Well, there we go. Ilphonic. The makers of Friday the 13th. Also Predator Hunting Grounds and Ghostbusters Spirits Within. Or really good games, or specific to a singular IP. So Friday the 13th was a Kickstarter game. I didn't know that. Interesting. Oh, so maybe those people were the backers on Kickstarter then. The part of young Jason was played by Ari Lechman. Originally, director Sean Cunningham wanted to cast his son Noel. However, Noel's mother did not want her son to spend hours in a freezing New Jersey lake during fall. I mean, that seems pretty reasonable. Eric J. R. LaChapa. As part of the Kickstarter campaign, certain high-tier backers could get their likeness included in the game. One such generous backer was Eric J. R. LaChapa. LaChapa's best two stats are Repair 1010 and Stealth 810. Oh, this was a backer. You get to play as a backer. That's really interesting. Are the other characters backers then? Are there more of them? Double Vision. Actress Camilla Moore auditioned for the role of Samantha. When the filmmakers discovered that she had a twin sister, Kerry, they offered them both the foxy roles of Tina and Terry. This was not the first time Camilla and Kerry's acted together. They both have already starred in double mint gum commercials. Oh, okay. Fanzine Magazine. In part 3, Debbie and Andy, played by Trisha Savage and Jeffrey Rogers, canoodle in a hammock. After returning from a shower, Debbie lounges with a Fangoria magazine. She flips past an article about Tom Savini, the man behind many of the classic Friday special effects. Unluckily for her, Jason was hiding with a knife beneath the hammock. This is really badly textured, so I don't think we're supposed to read that. Writing. The script of Jason Goes to Hell is exceptional in that not a single teenager was called for in the script. Okay. Hello. Oh yeah. Novels. Friday the 13th is more than a movie franchise. There's also a television series. Is there? A comic book mini-series and 4 novels today. Yes. What's that on then? Okay, so I looked it up. Yeah, it's an old series. Late 80s into the 90s. It ran for 3 seasons. Can't seem to find it anywhere to watch in the UK though. Typical. The music of the films. Composer Harry Manfredini has scored 8 Friday films. Some of his older music was reused in Part 7 as well. But it was his first score for the original movie that set the tone for the rest of the series. In an interview, Manfredini described how that score took on a life of its own. The music became a character in that film. It was really minimal. There were really only 2 chords in the score. There was a sameness to the score, there was never any melody. Starlacon, A Beginning, 3rd edition. Jeff Bennett played the lovable nerd writer Eddie McCarlo, who runs a sci-fi premise by Tina. 30,000 years into the future, the entire galaxy is populated by a highly evolved protozoa. Only one human being and his woman to exist among the stars. Jason. After the success of the first movie, Frank Mancuso Sr., the CEO of Paramount Pictures, wanted to make the franchise into a serial, with each movie having a different story. It was reportedly Phil Scuderi, Steve Minasian, and Bob Barsimian, who insisted that the sequel have Jason Voorhees. Ali. The role of Ali, a tough member of a local biker gang, was played by an actor named, appropriately enough, Nick Savage. It's a rough movie for Ali. His bike is damaged, his friends are killed, and he gets his arm chopped off before being hatcheted to death. In an alternate ending, he survives, but that footage, like Ali himself, was cut. Jessica. Director Adam Marcus wanted to turn the series back to themes of family. The character of Jessica Kimball is the daughter of Diane Kimball, who is the half-sister of Jason Voorhees. A depiction of the final scene set at Voorhees' house. So is this a backer or a dev? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that could be like fan with somebody who works on the movie for all I know. Tiffany Cox and Kenny Riddle. The spring break of 1984 clothing pack DLC introduced skimpy swimsuits and a new challenge for the art team at Ilphonic. In an interview, art director Cole Gray stated, "We have built a system originally for the customization of swimsuits. We've had to overhaul how the characters function fundamentally. It has to do with a much larger scope of work that involves a gore system. So now we have a bunch of new clothes that work with the way our characters pop. Our characters are essentially crash test dummies. They have to break apart certain locations. It was a bit of a challenge." Wait, is Jason under there? Are they the ones that get skewered by Jason in the hammock? Can't tell. Door is locked. More people. Children. Bunch of paintings. Yeah, it's hard to tell if the devs or like a few backers have paid a lot of money to be on there. Oh, this one opens. Red bandana. In Friday lore, Steve Christie is the entrepreneurial son of David and Louise Christie, who owned Camp Crystal Lake at the time of Jason's drowning. Steve takes it upon himself to renovate the camp and reopen it. By fixing the camp, he draws the murderous ire of the killer. Still reeling from Jason's death, who knows, if it hadn't been for Steve, perhaps Camp Blood would have remained dormant and the world would have been robbed of one of its great fictional villains. Chris. Actress Dana Kimmel played the scarred but tenacious heroine Chris. Marguerite Happy, however, played her stunt double. Oh, that was the name, okay. Jenny Myers. The character of Jenny Myers, known as the girl next door, is voiced by talented Christina Klebb. Unlike her character, Christina is a bit of a traveller, born in New York. Klebb spent her formative years in Germany, France, and Italy. Christina Klebb. Is that the woman who played the Ball Queen in Star Trek? If not, the names are very similar. Christina Clapp. No, it's not. Who was it then? Oh, Alice Krieg. Well, okay. Not really very similar, to be honest. Bunch of food on the table. A very suspicious looking wall. Looks like something from Resident Evil. Shelley and his ma. Larry Zerner played the role of fan favorite Shelley in Friday the 13th Part 3. In the movie, Vera, played by Catherine Parks, is on the docks of Crystal Lake when she finds Shelley's wallet. Inside is a picture of Larry and his actual mother. Startled by noise, Vera drops the wallet into the muddy waters. Upon fishing it out, she is confronted with Jason wielding a harpoon gun. Fans know the rest of the story. What they might not know is that after filming, Larry gave the washed out photo to his mother, who put it on her fridge as a memento. It stayed there for 30 years before it was scanned and put into this very game. Newspaper. The mythos of Jason lies somewhere between the natural and the supernatural. He is a man who can be cut and killed, but he is also a boy who survived drowning. In one telling, his immortal dark heart switches hosts. In another, he is a woundable adversary. Like a good campfire story, the definitive truth is always just out of reach. Deborah Kim. Friday the 13th, the game features a wide range of voice-over talent. The counselor Deborah Kim is voiced by veteran Christina V, who also helped voice many popular animated and film projects. Wine bottle. After hooking up with Tina, Crispin Glover's character Jimmy goes downstairs for a celebratory bottle of wine. Not having the means to open the bottle, he calls out for a corkscrew. Jason obliges by slamming into his head. Oh, his hand, not his head. Before hacking him in the face with a meat cleaver. You should be careful what you wish for in a Friday film. Waste of budget. Julius and Jason's boxing match in Friday the 13th Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, was scripted to take place in Madison Square Garden, but for budgetary reasons ended up taking place on a roof in Vancouver. The boxing scene, however, was not lacking for effort. Actor Vincent Craig Dupree, who played Julius, was really punching Kane Hodder with all his might. When it was Jason's turn, he punched Julius's head off, sending it flying into a dumpster. I feel bad for Kane Hodder. Was he injured from the punching? Seems like something they wouldn't get away with today. Is that it for in here? Seems like it. Don't know what that is. Weird devices on the wall. Automobiles of the films. From the Jeeps in the original movie to Megan's hot rod in Part 6. There have been many memorable automobiles in the films. In Part 5, Ethel's wild son Jr. crazily rides a motorcycle before being decapitated with a meat cleaver. Without much of a budget, the director had the act of playing Jr., Ron Sloan, to do the stunt himself. It required Sloan to ride a motorcycle recklessly through the forest with a 50 grand camera mounted to the handlebars. How people weren't injured, I don't know. On fire. During the final battle in Friday the 13th, The New Blood, the telekinetic heroine Tina Shepard sets Jason, played by Kane Hodder, on fire. The other footage, Hodder was set on fire for 40 seconds. A Hollywood record for a controlled burn. The incredible thing was that Hodder agreed to do the stunt at all. Several years before Hodder had a similar stunt go wrong on him. He was badly burned, receiving scars on his chest and neck from the accident. Yeah, that's messed up. What was that? Oh. Walking shoes. Jason and Kane Hodder have a special connection. In a Friday the 13th roundtable, Hodder relayed a little bit of what it's like to be so close to the icon. Every time I do a convention or an appearance somewhere, there will always be at least one person that says, "Hey, do the Jason walk." I'm like, well, that's kind of how I walk.
What was the creepiest part about working on the game?
Oh, for sure the phone calls.
Okay, sorry. That was great. Can you start over, but this time incorporate the question into your answer?
My bad, yeah. So the creepiest part about working on this game was I get these weird phone calls to my personal phone. We worked on the game for almost, I think it was about 3 years. And every single Friday the 13th we would get these calls from someone. At first I thought it was someone at the studio, Paul or Dan or something, but it had to be like an F-13 fanboy or something. They would use this voice distortion and claim to be Pamela warning us to honor the memory of her son. Sometimes they would just laugh into the phone and hang up, but most of the times they would just, complain about the game taking so long.
That doesn't sound that creepy.
It wasn't until one time I called the number back and heard this.
Okay, let's go upstairs. Bugsy Wilson and Chad Kensington. Since the inception of the project, the developers knew that the Friday the 13th experience had to be multiplayer to capture the magic of the movies. The multiplayer experience is what got us the license, said the co-creator Ronnie Hobbs. Sean S. Cunningham saw our game, saw that it was multiplayer and it could essentially play out like a film. They'd been wanting to make a Friday the 13th game for a long time too, but all they were ever pitched was single player games. Game development. Game development can be a consuming and somewhat unique enterprise. Ilphonic founder Chuck Brungard described what it's like to be developing a slasher game in a conventional work environment. The funny thing is that we're in a high-rise building. We're riding the elevator with people who have no idea what we're talking about. Yeah, the pitchfork needs to go a little bit further for the eye board to come out and hang, and the blood to... And we turn around and there are people huddled in the corner. Travel brochure. The original draft of Rob Hedden's script had some ambitious plans, including a boxing match in Madison Square Garden, crane shots in Times Square, and a chase scene across the Brooklyn Bridge. The budget, however, quickly became an issue. Ultimately, much of the movie was filmed on a ship named the SS Princess Patricia in Vancouver, leading many in the cast and crew to dub the movie Jason Takes Vancouver. Newton Super Flea Market. Okay. A Long Night at Camp Blood Part 2. The screenplay for the original Friday the 13th was initially titled A Long Night at Camp Blood. Director Sean S. Cunningham, however, had always wanted the name of the movie to be Friday the 13th. Even before he had finished the script, Cunningham took an advertisement out in trade publication to stake his claim to the popular idiom. The new title was successful, although you can still see references to Camp Blood sprinkled throughout the series. A collection of masks of Jason wore from the Friday the 13th series. One of the most emblematic moments of this movie was the scene of Jason in Times Square. Kane Hodder, who played Jason, stayed in character the whole time. There were hundreds of people on both sides of the street watching the filming. With one quick look from Jason, and the crowd will scream, cheer, and go wild. Corey Feldman was slated to reprise his role of Tommy Jarvis in this film. Unfortunately, being cast in 2 Spielberg movies led to scheduling conflicts. A compromise was reached in which the child actor would appear, but only in the opening sequence. Director Danny Steinman arranged for the crew to set up in Feldman's backyard. They put up extra bushes, had a rain machine, and wrapped the shoot in 2 hours. They did it in his house, Feldman's house. It's crazy. Tommy's fascination with masks served multiple purposes in this film. They served as a homage to seminal special effects artist Tom Savini, as well as adding a darker layer to Tommy's character, providing an omen of things to come. According to screenwriter Barney Cohen, they also made a philosophical point about horror, that it is contagious. The horror that Jason dispenses can be passed on to anyone. This film featured a recasted Jason. The filmmakers discovered a 6'3", 250-pound nightclub owner named C.J. Graham. Graham was part of a hypnotist stage show whereby a magician would put an audience members into a trance and ask them to imagine they were encountering Jason Voorhees. Graham would dress up as Jason and scare them in the middle of the hypnosis. The production team was impressed and cast Graham as Jason for the movie. Okay. Coming soon. Use the other door. Chamber of Horrors, keep out. This means you. Pedestal. Pillow talk. In part 2, there was much discussed about how the killer should be clad. Ultimately, it was the costume designer who brought up the burlap pillowcase. The headpiece was chosen because it was an item that would have been readily available to the killer, though it was never well liked by the production crew. It did serve a bridge to the hockey mask. Child's Rocking Horse. One differentiating element of Part 6 is it is the only movie in the series to feature children at the camp. The decision was a purposeful choice on the part of director Tom McLachlan to raise the stakes and set the audience on edge. Unger report. John Shepard played the shell-shocked Tommy Jarvis in the fifth film, A New Beginning. Tommy, psychologically damaged by his run-in with Jason in the final chapter, is sent to a treatment facility called Pinehurst Halfway Home. Shepard took the role seriously, spending a few months volunteering at a state mental hospital to prepare. Guard statue. Veteran Jason actor Kane Hodder plays 3 roles in Jason Goes to Hell. Not only does he play the titular character, Hodder also plays a security guard who mocks Jason and the gloved hand, who grabs the hockey mask in the final shot of the movie. Crystal Lake location. No 2 Friday the 13ths have filmed Crystal Lake at the same lake. Strange. Pocket knife. The MPAA Ratings Board, Motion Picture Association of America, and the Friday the 13th franchise has long had a cat and mouse relationship. Director John Carl Buchler has publicly vented his frustration with the amount of footage that had to be cut to attain an R rating. For Buchler, the gore had a purpose, comparing the removal of it to be like telling a joke without a punchline. They could probably get away with it today. Maybe I wonder if they could do that. You know, release the original version of Friday the 13th. But probably all that footage has been lost or thrown away. Firecrackers. Ilphonic and Gun Media found the player feedback from the beta build to be invaluable towards balancing the game. According to dev Ronnie Hobbs, one item that required adjustment was the firecrackers. If you played the beta, you'd know the firecrackers used to be the least useful item in the game. They were designed to be a deterrent to fool Jason. You could throw something down, and if he was using their sense, he would see sound pings, and you could run the other way. The firecrackers can stun him now. Yes, it's very dependent. Like, if he's not using the sense, they're worthless. Basically. Pig Splitter. Like the movies that preceded it, Friday the 13th, the game has had its own problems with sensors. Germany's ratings board, the USK, found the game so violent that they rejected the game at launch. Medspray. After menacing the crew of the Grendel, Jason is shot to death by the android KM-14. With half a body and half a head, Jason falls into a nanomed bay that super heals the killer. With future technology, Jason is reborn as Uber Jason. Same bloodthirst, but deadlier. Nearly indestructible. And with limited movement, for actor Kane Hodder. The full bodysuit looked sharp, but had a limited range of motion on account of all the metallic pieces. Spear. Many kills in this game take their inspiration and origin from the movies. The kill where Jason spears a counselor in the face, for example, is a reference to VW Bug scene with Nancy McLaughlin in Part 6. Medspray. Alice, the heroine of the first movie, was played by Adrienne King. Her appearance in Part 2 is cut short when Jason shoves an ice pick through her temple. The collapsible ice pick prop was not checked properly, and on take one did not. Oh, and on Take 1 did not retract. Thankfully, King wasn't injured and didn't need any med spray. Yeah, that could have gone really badly. How is she not injured? Huh. Flare gun. Among the most interesting deaths in Part 5 was the road flare death. In the scene, 2 greasers, Vinny and Pete, are stranded along the road in the woods. A common enough occurrence in the world of Friday the 13th. Jason ambushes the 2 and shoves a road flare in Vinny's mouth. For the special effects shot, they made a latex version of Vinny's head and jammed the road flare in the mouth, making a horrific red glow. Spray paint. During the sequence where Jason chases Rennie and Sean in the subway car, 2 spray-painted slogans are clearly visible. Jason lives and Keaton lives. The first is the tagline of the 6th installment, and the second is a shout out to the band that directed. The director, Rob Hedden, was in as a youth. Oh. Spray paint. In the climatic fight of Part 6, Jason pulls Tommy down to the bottom of Crystal Lake. Underwater, there is a metal sign for Camp Crystal Lake with the word blood spray painted over Crystal Lake. It is a homage to the title of the original Friday the 13th screenplay, A Long Night at Camp Blood. Bat. Kane Hodder did the motion capture for Jason's kills. He is known for his intensity and dedication to his craft. For some of the weapon kills, the mocap team created a dummy for Hodder to physically hit with rubber bats. According to the developer Ronnie Hobbs, a problem quickly arose. That dummy didn't last a week. Every morning the prop people would be duct taping it back together because Kane would just beat the shit out of it. Mel pipe. Tom Savini, whose guidance helped shape the kills in 2 Friday movies, as well as Friday the 13th for the game, always anchored his special effects in the real world. It can't be preposterous, said Savini in an interview, because you won't believe it. And while the realness of the practical effects come at a cost to time, resources, and ingenuity, for Savini, it was always worth it. Did I scare you? That's what I do. Knife. Throughout his career, Tom Savini has been called many things, perhaps most adoringly, the Sultan of Splatter. Ronnie Hobbs gave the rationale for the adulation this way. People always say there's a million ways you can slice a throat, but only one right way, and that's Savini's way. Trap. The novel, The Friday the 13th, Hate, Kill, Repeat, sets the stage for the FBI sting that occurs at the beginning of Part 9. In the epilogue of the movie, the FBI have discovered that Jason does in fact exist and goes about setting a trap to send him straight to hell. If you've been drinking, get behind the wheel. No. Radio decor Tommy Jarvis. Throughout the series, Harry Manfredini's iconic Kiki Ki Ma 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 has been used to underscore Jason's presence. In Part 5, this sonic moniker is subverted. Tommy Jarvis, driven mad by hallucinations of Jason, rises from his hospital bed as the VO whispers Kiki Ki Ta 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 as he opens the drawer to see the hockey mask waiting for him. Ki is for kill, and Ta is for Tommy. Tommy Jarvis's desk. The role of Tommy Jarvis is one of the few recurring protagonists in the series, showing up in 3 movies, albeit played by 3 different actors. Young Tommy's interest in masks serves as a homage to Tom Savini. Jason's dead. 2 for 1 burger sale. Zombies in space. Oh. Slasher Volume 1, Summer Camp. Even before they had the license to develop, the developers of Gun Media intended to write a love letter to the Friday series, and knew they needed the legends to do it. Speaking of their early days, co-creator Ronnie Hobbs didn't mince words. Our goal all along for Slasher Volume 1, Summer Camp, was to get Tom Savini, Kane Hodder, and Harry Manfredini. Oh, it's just get them. We knew that we needed these guys on board. We couldn't do it ourselves. Archery target. In the original movie, the role of Brenda was played by Laurie Barton. The audience was introduced to her character as she is moving a large archery target to the range. As she places the target on an easel, a foreshadowing arrow shot by the prankster Ned whizzes by her. Later in the movie, Brenda was thrown through a window. As it happened, it was not Laurie Barton who did the stunt, but Tom Savini who played the flying teen. Pitchfork. Besides Bill's impalement in the original Friday, there have been several characters that Jason has affixed to walls or doors or even rafters. The biker gang character Fox, played by Gloria Charles, was impaled in the neck with a pitchfork and left to hang from the second story of a barn. The pitchfork was real, but made so that the two prongs in the middle were collapsible. Well, thankfully that actually worked. Sleeping Bag. Part 7 is perhaps the most censored Friday movie of all time. One particular kill that the MPAA sent back for several revisions was the infamous sleeping bag kill. In the movie, Jason, played by Kane Hodder, had to pick up a sleeping bag stuffed with a heavy dummy and 20 additional gallons of blood and slam it against a tree. Hodder struggled to make the stunt believable and was relieved when the ratings board limited the scene to one good tree smack. Duck. Jason's relationship with animals is undefined. In Part 2, Jeff and Sandra discovered a dead dog. It is suspected that it is the work of the killer, although it's never confirmed. In Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan, the director instructed Kane Hodder, played Jason, to kick a dog. Hodder, however, refused, saying it wasn't in Jason's character. Bird. The jungle gym in front of the Voorhees residence that Jason and protagonist Stephen Freeman fight on is the same jungle gym Alfred Hitchcock used in 1963 for the birds. There's a jungle gym in front of the Voorhees residence? Okay. Machete. In Part 9, Jason Goes to Hell, it is Jason's right eye that shows machete damage as opposed to the left eye that is damaged at the end of Part 4. Ilphonic and Gun Media corrected this for the Part 9 Jason in the game. The devs took a poll to see if the mistake should be retconned or let be. The verdict was that it should be fixed. Many at Gun, including Ronnie Hobbs, were still conflicted, with some people that wanted it to not be fixed, but if we didn't, we couldn't live with ourselves. In every movie of the Friday series, the killer has used a machete. Axe. Special effects artist Tom Savini came to the attention of the Friday the 13th filmmakers for his work on the movie Dawn of the Dead. Of particular note was the visceral nature of his special effects and kills. It was a realism that was hard won. Savini had been a combat photographer in Vietnam. If the special effects he created didn't give the same feeling as what he remembered from war, they weren't good enough. Hand-operated weapons. Preferring manual weapons like axes, Jason has never used a chainsaw in dispatching his victims. A chainsaw was, however, used on Roy at the end of Part 5. In the climatic barn scene, Pam, played by Melanie Kinnaman, fights off her attacker with a chainsaw, slicing his shoulder to the bone. Axe. To promote Jason Takes Manhattan, an axe-wielding Kane Hodder appeared on the Arsenio Hall show in full Jason regalia. Hodder didn't speak or break character throughout the entire interview. Credit to Arsenio for pulling it all off. Spear. Filming a Friday the 13th movie has always carried a certain amount of risk. Director Tom McLaughlin found this out the hard way when he cast his wife, Nancy, in Part 6. Nancy played the role of Lisbeth, who Jason speared through the windshield of a Volkswagen Beetle. When it came time to film the shot, Nancy sat in the car as Jason rammed the spear through the vehicle. The windshield gave way, but changed the trajectory of the spear, nearly impaling Nancy. Wrench. Jason turned many implements into tools for murder. However, some of the most censored kills have been from unarmed combat. In Part 6, Sheriff Garris is bent backwards and broken in half. It was a bloodless kill, but nevertheless was one that the ratings board had the most trouble with, finding it too intense. Pickaxe. Filming Friday the 13th can be a risky affair. During the final sequence of Part 2, Ginny, played by Amy Steele, is defending herself from the pickaxe-wielding killer. In one of the early takes, Steele, armed with a machete, sliced stuntman Steve Daskowalski's fingers, sending him to the emergency room. Once he returned, Daskowitz filmed the remaining takes with a prosthetic covering on his hand. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Bed. Like other movies in the series, Part 2 had a difficult time receiving an R rating from the Motion Picture Association of America. An X rating was only avoided once 48 seconds had been trimmed. One scene that raised the ire of censors particularly was the murderous scene of Jeff and Sandra impaled by a spear while having sex in a bed. Jump scare. The iconic stinger in Part 1, where boy Jason springs from the lake, helped spawn a franchise. According to special effects legend Tom Savini, the origin of the scene started as a conversation he had with director Sean Cunningham. Savini had just seen Carrie and had been impressed with the stinger at the end. He suggested that once the killer had died and the audience was relaxed, boy Jason should jump out of the lake and attack Alice. Cunningham agreed, and the legend was born. Okay, so we can now crouch. And we also now have an inventory. Oh, there's new things to interact with. Oh. Star Mummy 3, Dead Air. Star Mummy is a prosthetic title from would-be author Eddie McCarlo. Eddie, luckless in love and fiction, is rejected by his crush Melissa. When Eddie finds out that he was just being used, he takes it in stride. Rejection, fine, I can take it. I've been rejected from some of the finest fiction magazines in the continental United States. Flames. Most of the requested playable Jason was director Adam Marcus and actor Kane Hodder's version in Jason Goes to Hell. It's ironic given how little screen time the movie gives the corporeal Jason. For this movie, the special effects team, led by Greg Nicotero, went for a mutated disease look for Jason. The theory was that the hockey mask had been on Jason for so long that the skin had grown around it. The difficulty was that Kane Hodder couldn't take the mask off between takes. Hodder had to do the entire shoot and all stunts by breathing his own exhaled air. Exhaled air. There we go. Can now interact with that phone. Has this changed? No. Oh, this is open now. Can't interact with any of the images. Shaving cream. Nudity is one of the hallmarks of a Friday film, principally female nudity. In the ninth installment, The Final Friday, Adam Marcus subverted the expectation by including male nudity in roughly equal measure, including a scene where it had been described by many as the homoerotic shaving scene. Okay. I'll be honest, I don't remember that, but sure. Potato sack. Stuntman Steve Drzeskowicz played the bullet-hooded Jason. The sack would flap during the takes, obscuring Drzeszkowicz's vision, so the crew used double-sided tape around his eyes to keep the hood in place. Oh. Stuff again now. .3D glasses. When the 3D version of Friday the 13th came out in home video, it was released on VHS, Betamax, capacitance, electronic disc, and Laserdisc. Don't know what the other one is. Later, a deluxe edition was released on Blu-ray, included the 3D version as well as a pair of blue-red 3D glasses designed to look like Jason's mask. Oh, that sounds pretty cool. The Big Apple. From a watery start to a toxic end. Jason spent Friday the 13th Part 8. Jason takes Manhattan covered in goo. According to him, Kane Hodder They put slime on him in every single shot. He was wet the entire movie. Stockpot, one particularly colourful character in Part 5, was foul-mouthed Ethel Hubbard, played by Carol Lassitow. In many ways, Ethel was the foil to Pamela Voorhees. Both were cooks, both had special sons, and both had a great set of hair. In Ethel's case, it was a wig that Locatell had from a movie she was in with Burt Reynolds called Sharky's Machine. Oh. Nuked ideas. In a roundtable about Friday the 13th series, special effects master Tom Savini described his initial idea of Jason's death in Part 4. I thought a young Tommy, who was an effects kid, an inventor, would take a microwave oven apart and put a reflector on the shooter with a variable setting of 1 to 10. On 1, it would melt the toy soldiers. My idea was to stick that in Jason's head and cook his head from within and make it explode. So I had to sell that to the money guys. I called him, and what he said was, no. The Friday the 13th formula was killing naked teenagers in woods with household implements. I'm thinking this is a household implement. I mean, yeah. Okay. So we put stuff on there. So a backpack. What's this? Hello? Sometimes the prompts don't want to be on here. Jason has menaced several diners throughout the series. This menu is inspired by the diner in Part 5. Another diner in Jason Takes Manhattan features Jason bursting in, hunting Renee and Sean. A large cook attempts to fool the killer before being picked up and thrown onto a mirror. That cook was 6'7", stuntman Ken Kazinga, who would go on to play Jason in another film. Interesting. Victims becoming the killer. No, yeah, we've used those. Pedestal things, yeah. So we need to go in there. Can't open this. Play the videos. Because that one was free, that was part 2. Were there more videos? Yeah, there was a video in here, wasn't there? What was this one? That was part 1. It's 2. Another mask. This film marks the first of 4 times Kane Hodder would play the role of Jason Voorhees. A series record, Hodder's portrayal was met with wide acclaim, but it was not without cost. The veteran stuntman took a lot of abuse. He fell for a set of stairs, had an actual roof collapse on top of him, and was set on fire for what was then a Hollywood record. After an epic battle in the Voorhees dining room, impeccably named Bounty Hunter, Creighton Duke is killed by Jason with a bear hug. No exit. In one scene, in part 6, a group of campers are shown to be sleeping in a cabin. The camera pans over a little girl who has fallen asleep reading Jean-Paul Sartre's novel, The Exit. The novel is about 3 people spending eternity together in a small room and ends with the revelation, "Hell is other people." Quite an odd book for a child to be reading. The yo-yo scene was purely a stunt to demonstrate the depth of the brand new Mark's 3D system. Oh, 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 come on! Toy Spider. Shaver Ross played the character of Reggie, a prankster and one of the heroes of Part 5. In Reggie's introduction, he startles a troubled Tommy Jarvis with a rubber spider before professing that where I come from, you learn to be scared of nothing. Reggie would make good on his boast. In the third act, the killer is about to catch Pam when Reggie runs him over with a tractor. Record player. Being an avid David Bowie fan, Frank Mancuso Jr. was named the production titles of several Friday films after Bowie's songs. Part 3 was given the working name Crystal Japan. Part 5, Repetition. Part 8, Ashes to Ashes. Perhaps the cleverest name is the one for Part 6, Aladdin Sane. Try saying that slowly while thinking about the film. Aladdin Sane. Yeah, okay. Oh. Snake. In the script for the original movie, it is the Prowler who puts the snake into the cabin. In the scene where the snake is beheaded, no special effects were used. Out of all the kills filmed in the series, the snake is the only one who really died. Won't be able to do that today. Raft. In Part 4, Judy Aronson's plays Sam, the free-spirited teenager who is impaled while taking a late-night lounge on a raft. The special effects shot required Alonso to be submerged in a near-freezing lake for the entire shoot. This caused the actors to contract hypothermia. Ironically, Ted White, the actor playing Jason, came to her rescue, convincing the director to let her out of the frigid water. So she almost died? That's stupid. The Red Door. With a budget of just over $500,000, Sean Cunningham had a little budget for expensive lighting rigs, resulting in very dark night shots. Making the best of the situation, Cunningham chose props and costumes that had bright colours. Even the doors were painted bright red. Police car. The part of Deputy Winslow was played by Jack Marks. The deputy drives through the forest before stumbling upon Jason's shack. Unfortunately, the actor Jake Marks never learned to drive. On set, he was given a few driving lessons, but Marks found his moments behind the wheel the scariest of the entire shoot. Sheriff's badge. The part of Deputy Winslow was played by Jack Marks. The deputy drives through the forest before stumbling upon Jason's shack. Unfortunately, actor Jack Marks never learned to drive. Oh, it's just the same thing? But yeah, I can't drive either, so I'd feel the same. Wheelchair. One of the most popular kills in this series can be found in Friday the 13th Part 2. It involves the lovable wheelchair-bound jock, Mark, confined to the wheelchair by a motorcycle accident. Mark remains optimistic that he might walk again. Mark took a machete to the face, causing him to roll backwards down a long flight of stairs. It is a classic kill in the series, made even more notable, and that it is the first time Jason kills someone with the signature machete. Oh, what's this? Oh. During pre-production of Friday the 13th Part 3, director Steve Miner called for a makeup test on Jason to get an idea of what he would look like this time. Instead of applying the rigorous makeup to the actor just for the test, they traded out a Detroit Red Wings hockey mask from 3D effects supervisor Martin Jane Sandolph's bag of hockey gear and liked what they saw. Then created a new mask. That's the first one. Character traits. One lesson developers of Friday the 13th the game learned is that sometimes the absence of a trait can be more interesting. In a PAX panel, Friday the 13th game consultant Adam Sessler unpacked it this way. If you think about a slasher film, you don't have 7 smart, talented, athletic counselors that are up against Jason. They all maybe have a benefit here and there, but on the whole they kind of suck. That's part of the fun of the movie. One thing I've learned in the course of playing the game is when things go wrong, it's actually more fun. Hammock. Many films in the series have had cut material in order to avoid an X rating from the MPAA, and Part 3 was no exception. Andy's death originally showed his stomach being sliced open and his leg cut off. Similarly, Edna, Vera, and Chili's death scenes were shortened. Debbie's hammock scene was also trimmed to spare the audience footage of her blood splattering. The Axe. Saffron Henderson plays the role of J.J. Jarrett. The rock ogre is axed with her own pink guitar. To director Rob Hedden, the idea of a punk rocker would get her head bashed in by a flying V guitar was a no-brainer. Ha ha ha. There are over 100 licensed Friday the 13th products and toys. Together they have grossed more than $125 million in revenue. Oh, we can take them. Steven. Only 2 actors have appeared in both the film series and the TV series. John Shepard and John D. LeMay, who play Steven, both are named John and both will probably survive. So we gotta make a diorama. A depiction of the final scene set at the Higgins Havens barn. Script. One of the memorable characters in the series is a bounty hunter, a self-stylized cowboy, Creighton Duke, played by Stephen Williams. The scene in Part 9 in which Duke breaks John D. LeMay's fingers in prison is director Adam Marks' favourite scene in the movie. Script. Screenwriter Todd Farmer makes a cameo in his own movie as the character Dallas. Luckily they use a stuntman for the scene where Jason smashes Dallas into the wall. Unluckily the stuntman who took the hit broke his nose. After coming up with the name Friday the 13th, director Sean Cunningham determined that the new movie would be about, according to Cunningham, there would be very little time to waste on conventional things like character and plot. Next big decision was the setting, and the answer was a summer camp. To promote the movie, Paramount had an advertising campaign with Jason slashing through the iconic I Love New York logo. It was later abandoned when the New York City Tourism Committee filed a complaint. Number 1. Guess we'll put that there. Okay, we don't have that one yet. Actually, I feel we'll do them when it's time, when we have them all. So we need 4, right? What do we have so? Oh, what do we have so far? So 1, 2, 3. Do we have all the Jason masks? Ah, there we go. So you leave out the 5th one because it wasn't Jason. And then Kane Hodder played Jason for the last of the series movies. Secret patch. Every Jason model takes months to create and countless iterations. Usually the mask that takes the longest, said Gun Media co-creator Wes Kelter. We can usually nail the face in 4 iterations, the mask. It's about a dozen before it's right. The holes have to be right, the chevrons have to be right. It's got to be perfect. Okay, so we can add that onto the corkboard. Okay, can we play the other movies? Oh yeah, we gotta take all these. Secret patch. I always said any of the films I did as Jason, I'd always warn the actors, and they always thought it was kind of a joke. But I was very serious, saying, when it comes time for your death, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be comfortable. It's going to be a little rough, and I'm not going to hurt you, but it's going to be a little rougher than you expect. And sometimes they were quite tentative about it, but then when they saw the final product, oh, I'm so glad you did it like that because it looks so much better. Kane Hodder, Friday the 13th, the game. Kickstarter video, October the 13th, 2015. Okay, so I was wrong. The videos don't go here. These things do. Wait, where am I? So these are all to do with the movies. Secret patch. The dev team studied every minor detail in the films, even the copies of VHS, to get the look and feel just right. At PAX West 2016, Ilphonic CEO Chuck Burngard described their task this way. Animation-driven games are very hard to make, very complicated, because there might not be huge tech, but there's a ton of animation that goes in there. A lot of code has to line up and play the animation right to play the transition right, to really get the weight and feel right. There's so much under the hood that goes into that. When we signed up to do this project, we knew that would be the biggest challenge.
Crystal Lake Police Department. Hello? Hello?
Okay, is there a crack calling the police?
Who is this? Where is my boy?
Wes Keltner never dreamed he'd get the phone call that the Friday the 13th license would be granted to Gun Media. We sort of assumed we'd make Slasher Volume 1, Summer Camp, as this sort of homage, and then maybe later someone would give us a call. Some Hollywood type. But we really weren't banking on that. It was just the best slasher experience we can. Oh, just make the best slasher experience we can. Now the fake door's opening. Keep door closed. Oh. Wait, did we listen to that? Oh, did I mess up? Did I not listen to the radio in here?
Sweet. Well, now you know the virtual cabin goes a little deeper than we let on. There are quite a few more like secrets left to discover. We hid some content in this cabin that will not be easy to unlock. You'll really have to think outside the box.
So like a puzzle game.
Think of this less like a puzzle game designed to get through in like an afternoon, and more like an experience for our community to get to know the movies better, or for the hardcore fans to test their knowledge. That might be too much to say, but we could always cut that out later, right?
Mm-hmm. And how will players know when they've uncovered all the secrets?
It should be pretty obvious.
Kind of creepy seeing all these different Jasons here. Oh, Bernie Jason. I never got to play as Bernie Jason.
You can bring him back, you know. There's always a way.
Wait! No! 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 Oh no, I need to go back. Okay, well that was super annoying. The phone kept ringing. So I didn't want to listen to the radio with the phone ringing. So everything's just open to me, I guess. Because I've done it before. I've done all this. Gone this far. So was this one that they were going to add into the game at some point and didn't get to? Oh. I bet this one was Jason X. Yeah, I bet this one was Jason X. And maybe this one was... Wait, how many are there? So 2, 3, 4. Wait, 5's not here. So this is from 2. That is 3. Is this 4 then? And then maybe 6? How many are there? 1, 2, 1, 2. There's 8. Yeah. So Jason X is missing and the guy in 5, but it wasn't Jason, so Maybe the Freddy versus Jason one? Maybe that. But why is it here? Were they going to introduce Jason's mum as a killer? But that wouldn't make sense, would it? I don't know.
Congratulations on completing the virtual cabin. In the future, we might update this space to reveal what's behind those two curtains. But for now, we just want to say thank you for playing and invite you to stay as long as you would like.
Well, that's sad. You're never going to find out what's behind these. So I think maybe they guessed you were going to go for the phone immediately. Because these are the same, right? These other ones.
Okay, so did you want to do an intro?
Hello. Welcome to the virtual cabin.
Yeah, it's just sad. That's real sad. That they spent... Like, they wanted to make this homage to Friday the 13th. But then was surprised actually got the license for it. But then they got stuck in a quagmire of licensing issues. Couldn't do anything to the game. Really wanted to work on it, and then like... And now it's over with, and they had to abandon it. I wonder what this could have become. In addition to decapitating Pamela Voorhees, Alice, played by Adriana King, has the honour of being one of only a few characters who made an appearance in more than one Friday movie, albeit briefly. Yeah, I wonder what this one would have been. Friday the 13th Part 2. Part 2 is the first film to feature Jason Voorhees as the killer. After surviving, drowning, and living alone in the woods for more than 20 years, Sackhead, Jason emerges to exact revenge for the murder of his mother, Pamela Voorhees, continuing his mother's mission to keep Crystal Lake closed. He decimates nearly every counselor of the Packanack Lodge Training Center. Only the aspiring child psychologist Guinea Field is able to outsmart and eventually defeat Jason. She puts on Pamela's sweater to trigger Jason, and then buries a machete deep into his shoulder. After the credits roll, one question remains. Where the hell is Paul? Oh, did they forget about a character? Friday the 13th Part 3. After barely surviving his encounter with Guinea in Part 2, Jason sets his sights on a new section of Crystal Lake, Higgins Haven. Part 3 was released in glorious 3D and is the first movie to feature Jason wearing the iconic hockey mask. After Jason murders nearly everyone in sight, heroine Chris Higgins knocks him unconscious with a shovel, hangs him, and finally takes a hatchet to his head to take him out. After August the 13th, 1982, a hockey mask would never look the same again. It looks a lot bigger in 3 as well. Friday the 13th, the final chapter, billed to be the end of the series, the final chapter delivers a thrilling resolution, if not an ending. Part 4 is perhaps most notable for two things. The first one being Crispin Glover. His dance to woo one of the twins is one of the most idiosyncratic and perplexing dances in all of cinema. All of them more important though, the final chapter introduces to canon the mask-obsessed Tommy Jarvis, played by the burgeoning star Corey Feldman. By ingenuity or madness, Tommy dresses up as a young boy Jason in the final confrontation and delivers the mortal machete blow that would send Jason to his temporary grave. And this is where he looks more disfigured. 3 doesn't really look that disfigured. I suppose he is, but I suppose it was like 1 and 2, and then maybe 4. It was the most disfigured, I guess. Wow, other than the later ones. Yeah, we skip over 5, and in part 6, Jason lives. After a traumatic battle with Jason years earlier, a much older and very troubled Tommy Jarvis returns in Friday the 13th Part 6 to destroy Jason's body once and for all. Unfortunately, the plan fails, and Jason is inadvertently brought back to life, armed with a utility belt, a hunting knife, and throwing darts. Undead Jason is able to gruesomely murder 18 people at Camp Forest Green before he's defeated and returned to the bottom of Crystal Lake. But for how long? Yeah, I think this is where he's brought back to life by a lightning bolt. Oh no, maybe it's this one. Because it looks like he's in burned ashes. Friday the 13th Part 7? Yeah, The New Blood. Jason begins the film drowned and chained to the bottom of Crystal Lake. Oh, okay. That's why he's got chains on him. The telekinetic Tina Shepard, Part 7, the final girl, mistakenly brings Jason back to life while having an emotional breakdown. Part 7 features several intense battle scenes, creatively brutal kills like the sleeping bag, and memorable characters. But more importantly, this film makes the first time Kane Hodder would step into the role of Jason Voorhees. Kane's intimidating portrayal of Jason quickly propelled him into a fan favourite, and ultimately allowed Kane to don the hockey mask for the next 3 films. Jason Takes Manhattan. Once again portrayed by Kane Hodder, this installment follows Jason as he tracks a new group of victims from Crystal Lake aboard the SS Lazarus to the bright lights of Manhattan. While only a tiny portion was actually filmed in Manhattan, that didn't stop Paramount from heavily promoting the New York angle. Jason even made a surprise visit to Arsenio Hall's show. He also saw future star Kelly Hu make her film debut. Jason Goes to Hell, Final Friday. No doubt the most divisive entry in the franchise, Jason Goes to Hell's decision to focus on the possession angle meant virtually no screen time for Jason himself. Still, the film had an array of brutal kills, a cool Jason design, and a demonic soundtrack created by Harry Manfredini. The other horror icon's cameo at the end was controversial, but it helped set the stage for a future movie showdown, and Tom Savini designed Jason created exclusively for this game. Savini's Jason. Savini's Jason was an exclusive reward for backers who supported the game early on. Special makeup effects guru Tom Savini created this Jason to reflect what Jason may have looked like after he returned from hell. Jason is badly wounded, deeply gashed over his body, and his skin is burned beyond recognition. Jason emerges from hell clutching a pitchfork he pried from the hands of Lucifer himself. Savini's concept is a terrifying, unforgettable take on the king of slashers. Ah, I see. Okay, so that's why I can never play this character. And then this most probably would have been Jason X. So who would have been in this one? Comes before the others. Like, I can only think of it would have been his mother. Okay, well, yeah, that's it for Friday the 13th then. And the end of an era for this game. It's a shame it was never fully finished. Okay, so it seems like it saved my progress. So there's more to do. Okay, so there we go. Yeah. So I made the phone ring.
You should have been watching him.
Oh, you just threw an axe at us? Oh no, you threw an axe to cut the power. Nice move. There's Jason 3 to the left. The best Jason.
Congratulations on completing the...
Oh. Dead Deborah. Debs at Gun Media brought in veteran Kane Hodder to do the motion capture for Jason. In an interview, Wes Kellner described an early conversation with Hodder about the mocap scenes. We were talking through motion capture and I said, let's get a few mocap actors in there. And he said, no. I'm going to be picking these people up and throwing them through you-know-what and just physically murdering these people in a motion capture studio. You can't do that to regular motion capture actors. They'll make it for like 2 scenes and then they're going to check out. You gotta get stuntmen. And so they did. At 25, the death count of Jason X is one of the highest in the franchise. Large as the number is, it doesn't take into account how Jason inadvertently murders the crew of the space station Solaris, which is a population that is possibly in the thousands, but is nonetheless unknown. Where do we need to go? Oh. As part of the Kickstarter campaign, certain high-level tiers could get a likeness. Oh, okay. He didn't get a special dead one. Oh, they're all dead. To some, the Friday the 13th movies are the epitome of morality in 80s slasher movies. Yes, there are drugs and promiscuity, but immoral teens are always punished. Cases have been made that Jason was a modern Reagan-era killer because he was killing off those kids who didn't just say no. Sean Cunningham said in a 2017 interview that Friday the 13th was not about punishing people for having sex or morals, but he was just approaching the story with something like Jaws in mind. Bugsy should have just said no. kind of true though. I mean, you shouldn't just add movies, just add morals to people that wouldn't ordinarily have those morals. Like a bunch of kids alone, they're gonna drink, they're gonna drink alcohol, they're gonna have sex if they're unsupervised, and they'll probably do drugs. Because one, peer pressure of other people around them, and freedom. So you can't just say like, oh yeah, Jason's murdering them because of these things. That'd be disingenuous, really. But like, what are you gonna do? Make everyone super pious saints, and then have Jason murder them? But then you'd be like, oh, he's like against decency. Movies aren't magic, and to Tom Savini, the special effects people are the magicians. We misdirect you all the time, said Savini in a roundtable discussing about the Friday the 13th series. Because it's a magic trick. What do magicians do? A magician will make you look here, and he's pulling flowers out of his butt there. You didn't see the flowers because he was misdirected you. Key Ma Ma Ma, because famous sound cue from the films, was created by Harry Manfredini as a nod to the scene where Pamela says the line, "Kill her, mommy." He took the consonant sound, ki for kill, and ma for mommy, and ran it through the echoplex to get the final cue. Oh, okay. Is everything in here? And he smashed way out, so we're leaving the cabin? How big is this? Oh. How are they not dead? Oh, we can use the key. Another battery. The opening part of 6 has a frantic Tommy Jarvis digging up the rotting corpse of Jason. Harry Manfredini's musical score for this harrowing scene is titled Coffins and Maggots and Worms. Oh my. What's that mean? We're gonna dig him up? So we got a shovel? Explosion. In part 7, Tina and Nick escape the lakeside house before it explodes. Behind the scenes, multiple charges were staged to create consecutive explosions. However, when the trigger was squeezed, the building was instantly inflamed and the blast broke the cameras. The longest salvageable piece of film was about 20 frames less than a second. Oh, about 20 frames. Less than a second. Really? Did they have to make a new building then? I can't remember what happened. Or did we just have 20 seconds? Oh, no. 20 frames. That's a second. Yeah, you can't really do anything with that. Oh, I guess they redid it. AJ Mason, Adam Palomino. The Friday the 13th dev team created a cast of characters that captured the spirit of the film's many casts. Inside the Unreal 4 engine, characters are referred to by their archetypes: jock, prep, nerd, flirt, bookworm, and Rocker, to name a few. Whereas Kellner spoke of the legal grey area and the difficulty in acquiring rights to an actor's likeness at PAX West 2016. So they couldn't use anybody from film, yeah. And that's the problem with Dead by Daylight. Like, we have a lot of people like Laurie Strode in Dead by Daylight, but can't use her likeness because they'd have to pay and probably have a lot of problems getting Jamie Lee Curtis's likeness. Could we go in here? Mechanics. There were quite a few ideas that the game developers tested and ultimately scrapped. In a panel about the game, Dev Ronnie Hobbs described their initial thoughts on the car. Early on in development, we had this idea where Jason could do something to the car. The problem is that it's the first thing he does. If you know that you can break the car, Jason goes there immediately and breaks it. And then there are the physics involved. If you've played our beta, you saw how funny the car physics were. The cars would end up on top of the houses and trees. They'd go flying into outer space. And you see that when the ragdoll effect happened after a kill. I have their real songs. I don't think they're licensed songs, that's why I'm not going to stay on them, just in case if they are licensed. Yeah, I'm supposed to put that on something else. Gas. Altogether gas, I'm going to need things. Patches.
So tell me about when you were making the game. Did you have any like weird glitches or strange bugs that you found?
Late in development, we had this bug. We swore it was like the spirit of Jason coming into the game or something. But sometimes during a match, these invisible holes would generate. And if you manage to fall through one, you end up in this weird, untextured area of the map. It was not like an area we physically created, but like made of bits of our assets. Eventually you'd be shot up high into the air and killed by Jason in the sky. Luckily we were able to get it out before CERT, but it was a tough one.
How were you able to find it?
We had this debug code that would show us the holes in the map. That helped us hunt them down.
What was the debug code?
You know, it's the same code everyone uses when they need to input a secret code in a video game. I mean, just remember back when we were kids.
It's probably better for legal that way.
The Konami code? Jason is sent back to his watered grave at the end of part 6. The sequence was complicated and was filmed in 3 locations. Most of the underwater scenes were shot in a temperature-controlled tank in Los Angeles. The above-water scenes were shot on location in Georgia. The last bit, where Jason's neck meets the boat propeller, were filmed in the pool of the director's father. Reportedly, the amount of chum spread by the blade ruined the pool's filtration system. However, this did little to perturb the patriarch, who could boast the Hollywood picture was filmed in his backyard. Huh. Okay. Water effects. The pouring rain frequently drenching the last half of a Friday the 13th film. Some actors have found the constant high shoots and rainy conditions a hardship. Some have found a silver lining. Melanie Kinnaman was grateful when they turned on the rain because at least she looked good wet. So the only thing I could see is the radio around here that we could use to get a patch, maybe? Wait, there is stuff further afield. Fox. In part 3, Gloria Charles played the memorable character Fox, who along with her motorcycle gang menaces Shelley and Vera at a local supermarket. Making a hasty exit, Shelley accidentally knocks over the gang's motorcycles and speeds off. In a scene that was never filmed, the biker gang gives chase. After lashing Shelley's car with chains, the chase was to end with Shelley popping a champagne cork into Fox's face. Despite the darker material, Friday the 13th series has been occasionally lauded for its morals. In an early scene in part 9, two campers are having sex in a yellow tent. Not wanting to use protection, they throw their condom out into the woods. Jason, allergic to their lovemaking, approaches the tent and steps on the unused condom before murdering the couple. For the scene, the Wall Street Journal called the film a return to morality in cinema. I guess they don't like people using contraceptions, even though condoms not only protect you from unwanted children, it also prevents you from catching sexually transmitted diseases. Which is, I'm sure we can all say that that's good for society. Would it be like the radio? Would it be like 1979 when the first movie came out? That'd be a no. Okay, let's wander around first. Am I not allowed to go this way? Yeah, I can't go that way. Beautiful full moon. Pamela Voorhees, 1930 to 1979. Jason Voorhees, died whenever. Pamela's grave. In part 4, the full name of Pamela Voorhees is shown on a gravestone with the inscription, "At Rest." This is the first time in the entire series that her full name is revealed. Even Betsy Palmer, who originated the character in the first movie, didn't know till this moment that her first name was Pamela. Maybe the padlock combination is 1930 when she was born. Because we tried 1979. We're digging up Jason? Oh, hello Jason. Do I need to do something with you? Okay, we don't have anything else. Oh. Summer John Hawke played the dead Jason, who is dug up at the opening of part 5. There are no special effects used in the scene of Jason in the grave. For the shot, Hawke laid on an open coffin as the crew members with 5-gallon buckets dumped night crawlers on top of his face. Nice! Poor guy. Part 6 has the first of 2 times that Jason is electrocuted back to life. The idea came from director Tom McLaughlin. It was inspired from an old Universal horror movies, particularly Frankenstein. Yeah. So we'll try 1930. No. Pamela's head. In the denouncement of Part 2, the protagonist, Ginny, is being chased by Jason when she stumbles upon his shack in the woods. Barricading herself inside, Ginny finds a shrine to Mrs. Pamela Voorhees, complete with candles. Her gnarled sweater and decapitated head, played by actress Connie Hogan, in an ending that was ultimately scrapped. Pamela's head was to come to life and wink at the camera.
Come home to Mommy, Jason. You know the way. I'm home. You did good.
Gun Media wanted to bring in the original Pamela Voorhees actor, Betsy Palmer, for the game. Sadly, the legend passed before they could approach her. Yeah, that's sad. Why is one stick red? That's weird. It's a sign though, so that's like important. Isn't it? Is there nothing to do here? What do I do now? Hello, ducks. Okay. So I guess we need to go somewhere that's lit up. Because all these are slightly lit up. Oh, there? Muffin, the cute dog with a purple bow in part 2, seemingly encounters Jason Voorhees while exploring in the woods. Later that day, 2 counselors find the carcass of a dead dog that looks to be the beloved pup. But all is not lost. In a sequence near the end of the movie, Ginny and Paul hear a sound at the door. Is it Jason? The door opens to reveal Muffin. She's alive! As the dog scampers towards Ginny, Jason crashes through the window and grabs the terrified Ginny in slow motion. Okay. So that's 2. Okay, so we'll go back to the grave. Ah. To find inspiration and break out of his own head, director Tom McLaughlin would go to the cemeteries and other unusual places to write a script for Jason Part 6. Jason Lives. Jason Part 6. Friday the 13th Part 6. So the clue was right, the answer was right next to us. That's the zombie Jason we all know. Which version of Jason should be canon? According to Wes Keltner, hardcore fans know they used 2 actors, and they had a fat Jason at the beginning that got fired, and then hired another guy to come in. Even the masks changed. And during the shoot, the actor is always taking the mask off and on between shots. The hands are dirty, they usually pick it up by the nose and put it on, so as the film progresses, the bridge of the nose gets darker and darker as they film. So, if we're tasked with making the mask from Part 6, well, how dirty and dingy is the mask? Are we talking real 6 or real 2? We're not phoning it in. Oh, everybody's dead. Sean S. Cunningham, the creator of Friday the 13th, known as the father of Jason, during the development of Friday the 13th, the game, he outlined for the devs his take on the role of the protagonist and why Friday moves to fun. What happened with Friday the 13th is almost anti-dramatic. You're supposed to have a hero that you empathize with and care for, and then you put that person in jeopardy. You're with them, and hope they make it, and usually they do. And then you have a happy ending. I've seen so many Friday the 13th scripts that were designed to find what the protagonist really cares about and what their dreams are, therefore really going to care about her, and she goes wandering in the woods. I discovered that in Friday the 13th movies, the horror movies in general, it's not what you create people you care so much about, but you create people you'd like to see whacked. Yeah, that's kind of true. The kills in Part 3 put the Mark's 3D system to full use. However, if you missed a theatrical release, seeing the film in 3D would have been a challenge. The original home video release was in 2D on VHS, Betamax, capacitance, electronic disc, whatever the hell that is, and Laserdisc. Only later was a deluxe Blu-ray edition sold that had the 3D version along with a pair of red-blue 3D back glasses fashioned to look like a Jason mask. From the map size to items, from stats to abilities, Friday the 13th the game has gone through countless revisions. One large addition was the composure stat. At the beginning, Jason had the ability to blood ping, essentially allowing him to locate any council no matter what. At any given moment he could take you by surprise, said Dev Ronnie Hobbs. Turned out that wasn't fun. So instead the devs instituted a fear system. Randy Greenback, executive director of Gun Media, described it this way: Jason only has to get close to a counselor to instill fear in them. It's like a game of horseshoes. In Part 3, Shelley and Vera, two of the protagonists vacationing at Crystal Lake, get into a confrontation with a biker gang at a convenience store. In retaliation, the gang follows the two back to Crystal Lake with the intention of getting revenge. The bikers, Ali, Fox and Loco, siphon gas from a car in order to burn down the barn, but are ultimately foiled when they encounter Jason. It is not revealed how Loco got his nickname, however, it seems appropriate given that the character is smoking a cigarette while siphoning gas. Yes.
Tell me about when you were making the game. Did you have any like weird glitches or strange bugs that you found?
Late in development, we had this bug. We swore it was like the spirit of Jason coming into the game or something. But sometimes during a match, these invisible holes would generate, and if you managed to fall through one, you'd end up in this weird, untextured area of the map. It was not like an area we physically created, but like made of bits of our assets. Eventually you'd be shot up high into the air and killed by Jason in the sky. Luckily we were able to get it out before CERT, but it was a tough one.
How were you able to find it?
We had this debug code that would show us the holes in the map. That helped us hunt them down.
What was the debug code?
You know, it's the same code everyone uses when they need to input a secret code in a video game. I mean, just remember back when we were kids.
It's probably better for legal that way.
Police are here. Hey, police. Oh no, we're hearing good music. real police there. We're gonna get killed in the sea, aren't we? In the lake. Okay, so we've inputted the Konami code. Oh, we control things here. Display FPS. Map collision on. Show collision off. Oh, okay. Okay. Oh. Wait, can we use this door now?
We spent a lot of time tuning the game to make sure it was fun to play as the counselor, and we knew we had it when... Funny guys, hilarious. How long have you been waiting to play that for? Anyways, we finally... Oh, shit! Kane, that's dope. You got me. Oh, careful, bro. Your knife is dripping on the...
Oh my god, he's stabbing me.
Glitch. Ronnie Hobbs, co-creator of Friday the 13th of the game, has been open about the development process. In a PAX panel held in January of 2017, Hobbs outlined the perils of releasing their beta, the game's in-process version used for testing. Thank you for playing. The servers were a little weird for us. We're a small team. People aren't used to seeing a real beta. They've seen a marketing beta, which comes out the week before the game comes out, and it works perfectly. Our beta didn't do that. Ouch! Okay. Okay, we'll follow the weird icons. Oh. Chuck Brungart, your Flex CEO. One of the big adjustments was integrating the UE 4.11 update. It added a lot of hair tech, hair shaders, updated hair technology that they applied to the counselors to get their hair looking nice. There was all animation updates, especially... well, murdered. Okay, where are we going? Oh! Baby Jason? Secret patch. Okay, I guess we just carry on collecting these things. We're going back up. This looks very sci-fi. Are we about to meet Jason X? There's no, like... Oh, there is. Hard light holographic simulation unit. Though many players find a certain twisted enjoyment in being Jason, the developers did discover a limit. We went down the virtual reality road for a minute, said Dev Ronnie Hobbs in a PAX panel. There was something cool about being Jason in VR. But I don't think the world is ready for that. I think they are, to be honest. I think people would like it. Okay, let's go through. Oh. The Grendel. The Grendel is the name of the ship that Jason has taken aboard before reawakening. It is also the name of the monster in the Old English poem Beowulf. In that poem, Grendel, aggravated by the sounds of revelry, attacks the Great Hall, killing many men before being mortally wounded by the hero. Grendel's mother, angry at her son's death, seeks revenge. Ultimately, Beowulf tracks the vengeful matron to a warren at the bottom of the lake, slicing off her head, and the head of Grendel's corpse resting in its watery grave. Sounds familiar. Why is there stones everywhere? Okay, gotta go through here then. That's cool. So they actually modeled him? So they made a model for Jason X. Why was he never put in the game then? I mean, maybe it's because of legal issues, right? Maybe, perhaps. Perhaps they pretty much finished it, and then the legal issues got in the way, and they weren't allowed to add anything more. So just they're ready to go, and they just weren't allowed to release it because they're not allowed to work on it anymore while the rights were up for grabs, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. But that sucks. We could have had Jason X, which I don't know. What's the point of the tapes? Like it would be cool. I mean, you'd been on a brand new map. I don't know how that map would have worked if they put you on the spaceship. Just like, yeah, I guess that'd be a lot of work to a point, because instead of getting a car and a boat running, I guess maybe you do the same thing but to an escape shuttle or escape ship, or refuel a spaceship, or find keys for it. I don't know. Yeah, that seems like a lot of work, really. But that was cool though. We actually got to see it all. If we go down to the basement, is it going to be unveiled there now? Yeah. So, the murderous history of Camp Crystal Lake and the locals' warnings do not deter new councillors from setting up a summer camp. One by one, the councillors are stalked and slaughtered by a merciless and mysterious killer, Pamela Voorhees. She is on a rampage to avenge the death of her son Jason, who drowned in the lake because irresponsible, promiscuous councillors were not supervising him. The film ends with one of the most memorable stingers in cinema history. Yeah, I guess maybe the first one, you could argue, kind of has like a moral message to it. Like they weren't doing their job because they were too busy having sex and not doing their job and not paying attention. So I guess maybe, yeah, there could be an argument made for the first one. Jason X. In the 10th film of the series, Jason is sent into the far future and into outer space. With a cameo death by David Cronenberg, a holographic double sleeping bag kill, and the infamous liquid nitrogen face smash, Jason X has some great highlights. Perhaps most memorable is the introduction of Uber Jason in a brutal battle with android KM-14. Jason falls defeated into a nano medbay that rebuilds the killer into a powerful cyborg with red eyes. Reborn Uber Jason finds he has monstrous strength and is impervious to bullets and roundhouses from androids. Uber Jason is as indestructible as a falling star. I guess you wouldn't have been able to kill him then in if he was in the game on his map. Would he be only allowed on his map? Questions that we'll never have answers to. Okay, well there we go. Now we've actually finished the virtual cabin of Friday the 13th and finished with Friday the 13th, the game.